Hi, my name's Amos. I'm going to share with you some of the experiments I'm doing on teletinkering in the library. But first, a little bit of background. I'm what's called a constructionist, and that means I really like the theories developed by Seymour Papert and really taken forward by Mitchell Resnick and others at MIT Media Lab, where I used to work on the Scratch project. And Seymour Papert had a great way of summing up what he thought education could be in the age of the computer, and really in the age of technology. He said the role of the teacher, and in this case I'll maybe take some liberties and say it also could apply to the librarian, is to create the conditions for invention rather than provide ready-made knowledge. I think this is a crucial distinction and really important for children these days, and for adults really, to get opportunities where they can express themselves creatively and learn through that process. Learning, in this case, I think happens best in communities, and communities have different affordances than a learning curriculum. For example, if a kid comes to school and goes to their geography teacher, hey, I know you want to teach geography, but I'm really, really excited about this pancake recipe I'm working on. Pretty much they get told, well, tough luck. You've got to wait. Maybe when we do home economics or something similar, you can do some of these recipes that you're interested in. But their own interests aren't really taking center stage. They're not necessarily allowed to drive the interaction. Whereas in a really healthy makerspace, if a kid comes in, they might hear somebody say, well, you're into pancakes. I happen to have seen on some website an interesting Arduino-powered waffle maker that was like automated. Maybe you could adapt that and make an Arduino-powered robotic pancake maker. So the input or the ideas or the passions really of the participants can matter a lot more in a community, and that's where I see the opportunity to explore communities that learn and adapt in libraries, maybe more so than schools. So, but of course, we're all in a challenging situation right now with Corona in that we can't do as easily as we used to hands-on activities involving, different things that you might create or play with or tinker with. And therefore, we have to be thinking about what are the qualities we want to see in a group in-person creative experience, and also how are these supported by online things. So if everybody's going online, including a lot of libraries, how are we going to make that the best experience that we can? That's what I'm going to share some experiments with, some of my experiments on that topic with you. So one of the qualities of real space that I really love and in a real tinkering experiences is that you actually get to see what everyone is doing all around you. So you can see what they're doing with their hands and you can see what they're doing with their faces. And that communication is up to you as the viewer. You have the freedom to kind of move change your view. Of course, in a video call, somebody can kind of hold up what it is that they're creating, but in that case, that's up to them as to when they're going to present their work. And that's not the same kind of freedom. And I have a feeling that maybe that freedom to sort of like move your gaze all around the space at will is what kind of contributes to that collegial, exciting, nice, fun environment that I always want to see in a creative tinkering experience where people are sharing ideas and getting inspired by other people's creations. So I've been trying to experiment with different ways to kind of give that aspect, what's going on with the hands, a seat at the table. So this is one mock-up of a video conferencing system that I made that would have a camera for the face, but also a camera for the hands. And that would enable people to see what's going on, both with the hands and with the face of the people who are working alongside them. Another approach that I've explored a little bit is this idea of using a small piece of mirror mounted on a piece of wire, very inexpensive, costs maybe €1 to make, to kind of break up the view into two different sections. One of the face, as you can see here, but then also one showing what's below the camera down by the hands. And I can kind of show you how this works right now with this one. So if I take this little mirror that I've clipped on here and I bend it down, now you can kind of see exactly what it is that I'm kind of tinkering with. So this is just kind of a way of, or one possible strategy of kind of bringing what the hands are doing and what's being created into the conversation. Now, it doesn't work perfectly. It has some challenges, especially in that there's not a lot of real estate in there, and that's what we discovered from kind of this aspect. But basically, it's very simple to do, and you could imagine a lot of people trying this out and maybe tinkering together online in different situations. But I started to feel that that was kind of a tight constraint. We're still squashed into these really small windows, and so I wanted to explore something that libraries could maybe use to create a kind of a a workstation. So maybe there's a bigger scale workstation, like this one here I've made a mock-up of, where you sit in a chair across from two displays, and they're showing the person that you're communicating with in full size, and also the hands and the tabletop that they're working with in full size as well. So you could imagine working on papercraft activities or electronics where you're soldering things in such a high fidelity way that you could kind of see things better. So that later turned into this little experiment, which only uses one display and a mirror, and that's actually kind of presenting the person on the other end of the call in full size. It's also trying to solve the parallax problem of the misalignment of the camera and the eyes of the person that you're looking at by drilling a little hole in that mirror and having the camera look through there. So when you look at the person in the eye, you're actually looking more or less into the camera, and they feel like you're looking at them in the eye. Whereas right now, in most of these other setups, the eye and the camera are not aligned, and therefore it leads to some issues, and I think that could be improved. These are just a few of the different kind of ideas and experiments I'm playing with right now, and I welcome input or thoughts from anyone, so please reach out if you have any. And we're going to be hosting a small conference right now called Playing Together at a Distance at the Interacting Mind Center later in January to kind of explore different kinds of tinkering activities led by friends of mine from MIT Media Lab and the Tinkering Studio at the Exploratorium to try out what's the state of the art in terms of doing these hands-on in-person activities. Thanks very much. You can reach me at this email address, or you can view my website there. It has more contact details as well. And I look forward to chatting with you all and hearing more about your projects. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.